Clarke, and thank you very much for joining us here in this interview from eCamp. I'd like to begin us by starting off with asking you just to tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thank you, Adam. It's a pleasure being here. Let me start off by telling you a little about, I was born in Jamaica, by the way, and I came to Canada in 1982. And that's a long time ago. Since 1982, 34 years now. And of that 34 years, I've spent 27 here in the Durham region, in Oshawa, in fact. So it's been a long time here, and many years of great stuff. So I've chosen to live in Oshawa, and that's great. When I came from Jamaica some 34 years ago, life was tough. Life was tough here in Canada. But you know what? I've weathered the storm. I've done a lot in my life, seen a lot, and I'll be happy to talk to you some more about some of my journey.
We definitely look forward to that. Before we get into your journey, I'd like to just ask you, where did you go and where did you start with your education?
Actually, when I came to Canada, I'd already finished my first degree. I have a Bachelor of Science in Chemistry and Biochemistry. That's my major. After which I started my master's in neuropharmacology at University of the West Indies. When I came to Canada, I was at the stage of writing up, actually. Yeah. And so that was great. But after I finished, I had a difficult time finding a job. It was not that my degree was not recognized. It was recognized, but finding work was really, really tough. Mm-hmm. And I was prepared to do whatever it takes to get work. I just got married, and so it was not an option to just sit down and wait for my dream job. So I went out. I remember after not being able to find enough work, I went to a fish shop. And that was somewhere down in Spadina in Toronto. And after finishing my shift, I came out came out of the shop, about to go down into the subway, and I take a sniff at myself, and I was smelly, real smelly. And I said, oh my goodness, is this all I can get with my degree? Right. And so I continued to work at it until I found another job, but it was not easy. Yes. But I was determined to make sure that I find the right work that I needed.
So I imagine coming out of the fish shop, you probably started to think, this is not what I came to Canada to do. Where can I go next? And what did you do from that point on?
Yeah, thank you. I actually I was in biochemistry. My major in biochemistry. So I looked at going to the Michener Institute for 1 year to get qualification in clinical chemistry. I worked in medical technology for a number of years. So after that, when I finished doing the fish shop thing, I said, and that was not very long, by the way, because I realized that that's not my destination. Yes. I need to move forward. And I spent 1 year at the Michener Institute and qualified in clinical chemistry. I then got a job at Toronto General in their clinical biochemistry department, where I worked for a while, and then to North York General, where I worked part-time for a while. My full-time job was at a lab called MedChem Laboratories. That is no longer in operation because that job was passed over to a gentleman who ran it into the ground. And so I realized that, I could go and look for another job. Yes. But it was, after working there for a number of years, I realized, maybe it's time to try something else. And so I went into education, and I realized this is my calling. Mm-hmm. And that was amazing. Long story short, but after I finished again, I could not find a job very easily. Even though I'd volunteered and done a lot of work with the community, thought I'll get a job with the school board that I'd volunteered with so far. I was passed over, and I didn't feel very happy. But you know what? I believe that even in the face of disappointment, there is a plan. And I truly believe that, because you know what, the job that I got as a result of it, I moved forward in that one, and
Yes.
God was good for that. Yeah.
That's excellent. That's great to hear. So it sounds like you found your passion with teaching kids. And can you just lead us on a little bit on how that passion turned into what is now ECAT mentoring? How did that all start?
Yeah, even before I start teaching, we had done a lot of work in community. My wife and I, my wife of 34 years as well. And we have worked in community for many, many years. Even when our children were in school, we were participating a lot in the kind of work that